Okay, number 4, we've got another one of these, okay? We have absolute value signs, that's the bars. So it is absolute value, UE, okay? And I see 3 transformations. Okay, that negative out front is a reflection over the x-axis. And the 4 in there is a shift. We can just say left 4 and then down 3. And so for this one, I don't really need to make a table because I know that it is going to be reflected over the x-axis, so it's the pointy part's going to be up, and it's left 4 and down 3. And there's no stretch or shrink, so it's just going to be that 45-degree kind of angle. Okay. All right. Now some transformations. Okay, so we're starting with, it says write a function g described by the transformations for the graph of f. So we're starting with 4x plus 1, and we're going to translate it 2 units to the left. Well, remember that going to the left is a horizontal translation. That's f of x minus h. And going to the left, I've got x minus. Going to the left is negative. So I have a negative 2. So this is the same thing as f of x plus 2. Okay? And when I plug in that x plus 2 for x on this side, I also need to do it to the actual function. So I've got 4 times x plus 2 plus 1. And now to get rid of the parentheses, we distribute. So we have 4x plus 8 plus 1 gives me 4x plus 9, and they want me to call it g of x. If you don't write g of x on the test, it's okay. I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about it. Okay, number 6. We start with f of x equals x, and it says shift 9 units down. Remember that all we do with up and down is just tag it on the end. So it's minus 9. But then it says a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. Now remember that when you are doing a stretch or shrink, you are multiplying the entire function by that stretch or shrink. So I am multiplying the entire function, that means in the parentheses. And then when I distribute, I get 2x minus 18, which again I'll call g of x. Okay, next one. Now we have an absolute value. This is a reflection over the x-axis. We do that first. That's out front. And a vertical shrink by 2/3. That's also out front. And it looks like I kind of gave myself enough space. Followed by a translation 4 units down. Okay, tagged on the end. And 1 unit to the right. Okay, again, this is f of x minus h. And to the right is positive. So we're going to have f of x minus 1. And when we plug that in, we get negative 2/3 x minus 1 minus 4. Because I'm taking what is in the x and I am plugging it in to here. Okay? Yeah, and then we call that g of x. All right, number 8. We're starting with x squared. vertical stretch by a factor of 4, just multiplying the function that I have, followed by a translation 2 units to the right. So I'm replacing x with x minus 2. So here's 4, here's where x was, and I put in x minus 2. You cannot distribute here because of the squared, okay? And we're going to call that g of x, and that's it for that one. All right, let me check the time. Okay, doing good. All right, vertical stretch. Okay, now we have a little bit more of an involved function. We start with x plus 4 squared plus 2. A vertical stretch by a factor of 3. Remember, when you're multiplying by a negative for reflection over the x-axis or by a stretch or shrink, you're multiplying the entire function. Okay, so 3 is going to go here, and we're also going to multiply 3 to that one. So we've got 3 times x plus 4 squared plus 6. Okay, followed by a translation 2 units up. Okay, I can do that. So now we've got 3 times x plus 4 squared plus 8, followed by a reflection in the x-axis. So we're doing it again, throwing a negative in the front of the whole thing. This negative distributes. Ooh, that was a mess. Looks like I smashed a spider right there. We got negative 3 times x plus 4 minus 8, and that equals your g of x. Okay, last one of these. Again, they're giving you kind of an involved function. And it's a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. So I'm multiplying this by 2. You cannot distribute this negative 4 because it's absolute values. But I can multiply this 2 by it, so I get negative 8 times the absolute value of x minus 2. And that is g of x. Okay, we will move on to number 11 in the next video.